Let's explore the theme of gambling in No Country for Old Men. Let's explore the themes of gambling and risk-taking in No Country for Old Men. The most obvious gambling is the coin toss that antagonist Anton Chigurh uses to decide the fate of people. He tosses a 25-cent piece in front of the gas station proprietor and demands he call it. He tosses a coin for Carla Jean when she pleads with him not to do this. And in the novel, he tells Carla Jean that the way he lives doesn't allow for special cases, but sometimes a coin toss. In these situations, the proprietor and Carla Jean are unwilling participants in gambling. They are forced to gamble to save themselves. Anton Chigurh gambles with himself by allowing himself to be arrested and taken into custody. His arrest is never explained in the film, but in the novel, he tells Carson Wells that he allowed himself to be arrested to see if he could free himself through an act of will, but admitted that it was foolish and vain. He had nothing to gain monetarily by taking this unnecessary risk. Llewellyn Moss gambles with himself by filling a jug with water and bringing it to the dying man in the desert. Perhaps this was more of him doing what he thought was right than gambling, but like Chigurh, Llewellyn had nothing to gain monetarily by taking this risk. He even admitted to his wife that he is fixing to do something dumber than hell, but that he's doing it anyway. Statistics are a big part of gambling. Professional gamblers understand this better than anyone. In the novel, the man in the office building tells Carson Wells that Chigurh is perhaps the most invincible man. He says that somewhere in the world is the most invincible man, just as there is someone who is the most vulnerable. Perhaps Chigurh is the one in several billion people that is the most invincible. Chigurh can free himself from police custody and single-handedly take out 3 armed cartel men at a hotel. He tended to his leg wounds after Llewellyn shoots him with double-aught buckshot. In the novel, he takes out several Mexican cartel members in the streets after they show up at the hotel, and does this with a wounded leg. He goes unnoticed when stealing supplies at a pharmacy by creating a diversion and not getting arrested. In the novel, he perhaps dodges another arrest when he notices police officers looking at him in the cafe of the motel he was staying at while his leg was healing. So Chigurh leaves the cafe without his crutches and does his best not to walk with a limp. Perhaps the police were looking for an injured man with a limp, and Chigurh was able to get off their radar quite impressively. Chigurh comes into the office of the man who hired Wells and shoots the man with a silenced shotgun. He also used birdshot, which is enough to kill the man, but not enough to shatter the window behind him. This spares Chigurh from drawing the attention of bystanders outside. A smart move on his part, perhaps even admirable, even though he's a hitman, and it gives credibility to the claim that he's invincible. A claim that was made earlier by the man he killed in his own office. Sheriff Bell uses a gambling analogy in both the film and novel when he says he doesn't want to push his chips forward. This is about meeting Chigurh. In the novel, he says he knows that somewhere in the world is a true and living prophet of destruction. This line is very similar to what the man who hires Wells said about somewhere in the world is the most invincible man. Perhaps Chigurh is the most capable of causing destruction. Bell says that he knows his line of work demands a willingness to die, but he doesn't want to go out and meet something he doesn't understand, something that would have him put his soul at hazard. He isn't afraid of death, but afraid of what he will become. This is something he would rather not gamble with. Llewellyn Moss could have easily made off with the satchel of $2.4 million, spent it wisely, and nobody would have pursued him. The odds were very much in his favor. The odds became worse when he returned to give water to the dying man and found him shot dead in the truck. Then he's pursued. His truck is left at the scene, and then a bunch of people, including the invincible Chigurh, begin looking for him. Is Llewellyn the most vulnerable man? He was killed by cartel members while at the hotel, along with a teenage girl hitchhiker he was helping. Then Chigurh kills his wife because he gave his word that he would do so. So it can be argued that Llewellyn Moss is so vulnerable that even those around him are vulnerable. He won the lottery when he found the satchel. The odds were in his favor to get away without any problems, but his empathy for the dying man made him vulnerable, and look at where it got him. Chigurh, on the other hand, told Carla Jean, "You're asking that I make myself vulnerable, and that I can never do." For those of you who have already subscribed to the channel, thank you very much. I'm going to set a goal for myself to try to upload weekly. So every week you can expect something from me, or perhaps an upload every fortnight. So every 2 weeks, perhaps you can expect something from me. If there's any films that you enjoy that you would like me to comment on and analyze, please comment or message me, send me an email, and I'll certainly consider it. I'm currently working on a novel, and I will have that published this year, 2023. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Take care.